Hello gamers, hope you are having a great day. My name is Rob and this channel is all about PS5 Pro content. So, this is my very first video game review and I'm reviewing Assassin's Creed Shadows on the PS5 Pro. And I have spent 78 hours with this game now and I have unlocked 74% of the trophies. I am going to 100% this, but I have finished the main story. I've done a lot of side content. So I have a full picture of what this game is. It's taking me 6 weeks to actually get to this point, and because I do have a full-time job, I'm a parent, and my time is very limited. I honestly wish I had more time because I love doing this. I love creating content. I love having this channel, running this channel. It's a small channel. I started last year, 2024, in November, so it's still rather new and still growing, and I want to keep growing because I'm loving this. What can I say? I have a deep passion for gaming, and I've had since I was a little kid. Anyway, let's get on with the review. But first, if you enjoyed this video review that I put together of Assassin's Creed Shadows, please give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. And if you want to see more PS5 Pro content, you know what to do. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.
So, like I said, this is my very first review, and I have decided to split this review up into different sections. I'm gonna start off by talking about the graphics, and then I'm gonna go on to sound, gameplay, story, quick pros and cons, and end the video with a final verdict. So that's how I'm gonna do this video, and I will put timestamps in the description in case you're just interested in seeing a specific section that I'm focusing on. So let's start off with the first one, graphics. Say what you will about Ubisoft, but they got some serious freaking talent over there when it comes to their tech. Like, this is the best looking game there is now. This game is just absolutely breathtaking. And like, still, even like every time now that I am booting the game up, I am just stunned by how drop dead gorgeous the game is. But it's not just like the sheer graphics of this game. It's just everything, the world, just how everything reacts to the player, and also how just dynamic the weather is. You can really feel the weather, like it combined with the sound and everything. It's just, you can really like feel, you can almost feel the wind in your hair, like when you see like all the leaves blowing around, and also you have these beautiful reflections as well. And even like now, I'm playing the game in performance mode. I played, well, pretty much the entire game in performance mode. I did try out all the other modes. I also made a video comparison, testing out all the three graphical modes. So you got the quality mode, you got balance, then you got performance, and I tested all those. I do have a specific video on that as well if you're interested in that. But I also tested the PSSR implementation that came much later. Actually, it was not there. It wasn't present at the game's release, and I mean, even without the PSSR patch, the game looked absolutely phenomenal. It just looked so much better than just the regular PS5 version by a lot. Like the whole lighting system and the shadows and everything, like the RTGI that is there on the PS5 Pro version, is just, it makes the game look so vastly different. And then the PSSR upgrade comes along and it makes the game look even better. Like, it's insane how much the PSSR improves the game, and the sharpness of it. Like, you can see the foliage, for example, and also objects in the distance. There's just a lot less noise and flickering just overall, and everything is just so much sharper, and it's really freaking great. The performance isn't always the best though. Like in performance mode, sometimes in certain occasions, in certain areas, depending on the weather, it could actually cause the game to drop like to the 50s, the 50 FPS, like low 50 FPS. But after the latest patch, honestly, I haven't really experienced any big dips like that anymore. I had it like when the patch first came along. I had some issues with the frame rate, but then they dropped another patch, and since then though, like the game has been a lot more stable. But I don't know, maybe it's also due to the fact that it just, like I said, it seems to be depending on the season and the type of weather that is currently in place. So maybe I just haven't been in the same conditions as I was back then. So, but like it still like performs overall. It performs really well. It keeps a really stable 60 FPS for the most part, and it's really amazing. And yeah, I have to talk about the destruction in this game, and like the level of detail, like everything that you cut, like it is so precise. Like it just cuts exactly where you hit with a sword, and it is so impressive. They put so much time, effort, and resources into this destruction system, and it is so gorgeous. And it makes the game feel a lot more realistic too. I do have one little nitpick though, and that would be the animations, the facial animations in particular, in cutscenes where they're not really like on par with, let's say, Naughty Dog games, where they're just looking hyper realistic. It's like you're watching a movie, but this is a step below that. It still looks really good, but it's not like on that level. But it could be because you can actually play the game in different languages, and what's crazy is that the lip syncing and the animations actually change depending on the language that you're playing the game at, and that is just freaking insane because I have never seen a game do this. So that is really impressive though, on the other hand.
Then what is it like?
Let's talk about sound. So the sound really helps you get so immersed into this game, and the world. It plays such a major role in this game, where it really makes you feel like you're right there. Like all the little details in like just about everything, but especially like in the world, just all the effects, like all the different weathers and the different seasons and stuff. Like there are so many different sounds, and you can just hear like the rain, for example, and the wind. Like when you hear the wind, it makes you feel the wind too, and combining that with the graphics, it just makes it feel so alive. And let's talk about the sound of the weapons in the game. And they sound really good. The sound really helps you really feel the weight of the weapons and just the impact they have. There's a total of 8 different weapon types in this game, and they all sound different. I mean, except for like the different blades. I mean, there are 2 different types of katanas, one for Nao and one for Yasuke, and then there's the Naginata, which is the long bladed weapon. So they all sound pretty similar. The bow sounds really good, and then there's the teppo, and there's a lot of punch to the teppo. And the cannonball weapon that you just smash enemies with. Yeah, that's a heavy one, and you can really feel the impact of every single punch there. And there's also the Kasurigama, which does have a long chain, and you can really hear the chain. But also cutting through enemies or chopping their heads off is it's kind of weird to say, but it is really satisfying. But also like just cutting through objects in the environment, or just destroying things or objects with any weapon type. It's just really satisfying. And now let's touch on the music. And I gotta say though, there's some music in this game that I am not very fond of. Especially in combat, sometimes you get like a very kind of modern beat to the game, and like really fast beat, or kind of a hip-hoppy beat, and I don't know, it really doesn't vibe with me. Honestly, I just prefer like music to be very authentic to the time period you're playing in. So I was a little bit disappointed in the music at times in this game. But it's not like this all the time. Like the music is really great for like 90% of the time. So how is the voice acting in this game? So I played about 30 hours in English, and then I switched over to the immersive mode and turned on the Japanese language. And I gotta tell you, I really prefer the the Japanese, the immersive mode, and by quiet a lot, honestly. It's not that the English voices are bad, but they feel kind of like off sometimes, and especially with the accent. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't sound all that good. And then we also have the children, and I think the children's voices actually sound worse in English. They actually sound a lot better in Japanese, and I think just overall the Japanese voiceovers are just generally better. Yasuke does have such an accent in the English voices, which is only natural, of course. I mean, he's not a native-born Japanese person, but it's kind of weird though when you turn on the Japanese voiceovers, and he actually sounds just like all the other Japanese. And I mean, I don't know if this is true or not. Maybe he does have an accent, but I just can't hear it because I don't speak Japanese myself. But it feels like he is speaking just as fluent as everybody else in the Japanese voiceovers, and that's a bit of a pity, I think, because I think he should have an accent since he is not native Japanese. Though I found one pretty big downside to using the immersive mode with the Japanese voiceovers, and that is in gameplay when you are riding with somebody or walking with somebody, and there's a lot of dialogue, and you also have to pay attention to what you're doing in the game at the same time. Sometimes, you know, there's even combat, and there's dialogue, and it's impossible to do both things at the same time. And you know, you got to read the subtitles, of course. I mean, unless you speak Japanese, and that can be really, really difficult. I mean, I found myself to actually lose track of a lot of the dialogue at times, and it was a bit distracting. But I mean, like overall, though, I still do definitely recommend people playing in the immersive mode with the Japanese voiceovers. It just makes everything just feel a whole lot more authentic. Let's move on to gameplay. So, I mean, it is an Assassin's Creed game in its core. So, I mean, if you've played any previous Assassin's Creed games, well, you kind of know what you're in for. They have done some changes to the gameplay and added some new things that I absolutely love. And you can now prone in the game, which is actually... It's really nice. It's a really nice addition, like especially when you're stealthing around as Naue, where being able to crawl on rooftops or in tall grass, it's just really, really helpful. And now it does also have a grapple hook, and that is completely new to the franchise. And it really helps and make you feel even more like an assassin, more like a ninja. And it just adds a lot more freedom and verticality to the gameplay. So there are two ways to use the hook. There's a toggle button, and you can either choose to climb just vertically, just up or down, or you can, if you push the toggle button, now it does swing back and forth, and it just opens up a lot of cool stuff. And I really love the grapple hook in this game. So let's talk about this game's biggest change, the two main protagonists. So Assassin's Creed has done this before with Assassin's Creed Syndicate, where you can play as two different characters, but their playstyles were very, very similar. They only had a few differences, some minor differences, but in terms of gameplay, they played pretty much the same. Now, in this game, there are very, very different. Naue is, well, a ninja, an assassin, and Yasuke is a brute samurai. Me, personally, I really, really like the fact that they went this route. Instead of having one main protagonist doing everything, this makes more sense, and also to the story as well. And, well, I will talk more about the story in the next section. But they play very, very different, and I really like it. So Naue is very, very light on her feet. She is quick, she is nimble, she is very stealthy, she's like the perfect assassin. Honestly, I think she's the best assassin the franchise has ever had. And Yasuke, well, they're introducing something new with Yasuke. He is just a full-on samurai, and he doesn't do stealth whatsoever. I mean, of course you can stealth, you can sneak around a bit, but once you get too close to the enemy is gonna hear you because you got such a big, heavy armor. You can't sneak around in this, and I like this. It just adds more option to the gameplay, and I'm all for that. So what's funny is it took me a very, very long time to unlock Yasuke. It actually took me a whole 27 hours until I unlocked Yasuke, because you had to get to a specific point with Naue in the story. I love to do a lot of side content and just focus very heavily on exploration and take my time and just really, really get lost in the world and the atmosphere. And I just love this setting. I love Japan. I've always wanted to go to Japan. I haven't been there yet, but I really will go there someday. But like, it was so cool to experience feudal Japan like this, and that's why I really took my good time with it, and it's just fantastic. Now let's touch on the parkour system of this game, and I think this is probably the best that it's ever been. But then you can obviously only do the parkour as Naue, as Yasuke is not an assassin and he's too heavy to jump around and climb and do all the cool stuff. Yasuke can do stuff too, but he's pretty limited, obviously. But you're going to find out some fun stuff when you try to do certain things as Yasuke. And also the leap of faith. Yasuke doesn't do a normal leap of faith, as he never learned how to do it, and he also is just simply too heavy to do it, so he's just fumbling around. It's funny to watch, honestly. Naue is quite the gymnast, though. She does a lot of backflips and flips, and sometimes it's a little bit too much. I don't think it's too much in the sense of when you do parkour in the open world, but sometimes in battles with certain executions, I think some executions are they're too frequent. When she just flips over the enemy and then slits the enemy's throat, and it's actually like, it's a pretty long animation. I think it takes too long. It kind of like, it can get a bit frustrating when she does that with every third or fourth enemy that you take down. But then again, there are so many different finishers in the game, and each weapon do have their own finisher moves as well, so that's really, really cool. There's about 3 different animation types with each weapon type, so that is pretty damn cool though. Yasuke is very strong though. He's really big, and he can take down enemies pretty quickly face to face. It's very different with Naue, since she is a lot smaller and she's more intended for stealth gameplay, but she's still very, very capable of taking down enemies head to head as well. So let's talk about bugs. So Ubisoft is very infamous for releasing unfinished, buggy messes of games, and this game is an exception. Actually, this game released extremely polished. I played this game day one and only stumbled upon a couple of bugs, and there are not game-breaking bugs, except one that was very, very frustrating. So I had just like synchronized a point at a castle, and I was trying to mount my horse, and it just wouldn't work. And then I was whistling at it, and then it just ran off, and it was so weird. And then when I tried to get back on the horse again, it just wouldn't work. And then all of a sudden, the horse just jumped into the water, and then it was just it just left after a while. And then I just went on my way with the game, and I went to the next place. I was clearing some areas and some castles, so I went on to the next castle, and then I was almost done clearing the entire castle, and then I died almost when I was done clearing the entire castle, and I was like, okay, why is the loading taking so long? The loading screen was taking so long. I was wondering, why is this taking so long? This is so strange. And then the game loaded back up, and then it loaded me back to this castle right here, where I was synchronizing the viewpoint. So I had lost almost 30 minutes of gameplay, and that really pissed me off. But luckily, it was a very easy fix. All I had to do was just reboot the game, and yeah, there you go. And then there is one other bug, but it's not really a big issue or anything. It's just kind of funny where sometimes you come across an enemy that is sleeping, and you wanna assassinate him, but then after you assassinate him, he just gets up, he stands up, and then he just lies back down again. And then you assassinate him again, boom, and then he just gets up again, and then he lies down. But it's okay because it doesn't really ruin the gameplay experience anything, because it's not like he is alerting any enemies or anything like that. It's just that it takes a bit longer for the enemy to die. So sometimes it took me like 2 or 3 assassinations on one enemy, and then they finally died. So it's actually kind of a funny bug. It's not a big issue or anything like that, but it only happened a very few times. But I'm pretty sure it's been resolved now. I haven't had it happening to me in a long time. Like, I think it was just with the day 1 patch. Speaking of alerting enemies, so there are guardians in this game that will come after you if the enemies do ring the alarm bell. It's funny, I was kind of unaware of this wanted system for a long time. Well, I knew about it prior to the game, but I first experienced it when I was 29 hours into the game. So I was just playing as Naue for 27 hours, and then with Yasuke, once I unlocked him, I played as Yasuke a lot, and then they did sound the alarm once, and I noticed like, whoa, okay, so there are a bunch of guardians coming after you when you alert the enemies, and it's pretty cool actually. And then the wanted system, actually, it stays with you. You are wanted until the season change, so it's pretty cool. So like, but if you are wanted, the enemies will recognize you, and then, well, they will just attack you on sight. So what else is there to do in the game besides main missions and side missions? So there are a bunch of different activities in the world to be found. There are different activities for each character. So Yasuke does have his own set of activities, and Naoe, she's got her own as well. And then you can also do certain activities with both as well. And there are also missions to be done as well, where you can gather resources to help you either upgrade your weapons or gear or your hideout. Honestly, I didn't put all that much time into upgrading the hideout. I mean, I did all the essential upgrades and stuff, but there's a lot of things you can customize to your own liking, and it's really, really cool what you can do for those who like to just tinker around with that. There are also a lot of different merchants around the world, and some of them, they have their own unique items, so it's really worth to explore the world. And speaking of the world, it is very large, but it doesn't feel like overwhelmingly large. It's really cool, like the way it works. So you just, when you open up the map, you just don't have a bunch of question marks everywhere. So you gotta first like synchronize a viewpoint. Yeah, it's still an Assassin's Creed game, so of course there's gonna be that in the game, or else it wouldn't be Assassin's Creed. But when you do that, you can like look around and you can find certain areas, and that's where you find like the question marks that pop up. So and you go there, you explore like that area or that region. So you basically take it one region at a time, so it never feels like it's just too large, and you just don't have like a whole bunch of question marks all over the map when you first start the game. So it's really, really good. And let's check out this skill tree. So there are a ton of different skills to be learned and mastered. And this is so much fun, because when you advance, when you just keep playing the game, you learn new things, you learn new moves, and it just keeps the game fresh all the time. It always like introduces new things, so it never really gets repetitive. And speaking of repetitive, so like I said, I've been playing the game almost 80 hours now, and I never really felt the game to get repetitive, because I don't know, there's just so many different things to do in the game, and you can choose your own pacing and your own order of doing things. all the time. So, I mean, it depends on how you play the game. Of course, if you're gonna clear a castle, if you like castle on castle on castle, of course it's gonna get freaking repetitive. But if you mix up the gameplay, the way you play, it doesn't feel repetitive because there are just so many different things to do in the game. There are also allies in this game that can be recruited. So there's a total of 6 allies in the game, and I've actually only recruited 5 so far. And all these are optional, and you can actually fail to recruit these as well. And they can help you along the way, well, whether you want to play it stealth or go in all guns blazing. It's completely up to the player. And so there's a lot of freedom to this game, and that's what I really love about it. And you can also choose whether you want to play as Nawa or Yasuke throughout the entire story. Well, pretty much the entire story. And you can just switch the character like almost whenever you want to, except for like when you are in an enemy base. And it's really cool. I love just how easily you can swap between the characters. But some missions are locked to a specific character, though. But there aren't that many of those, so it's completely up to the player how they want to play this game. Let's talk AI. So how is the artificial intelligence of the enemies in Assassin's Creed Shadows? And I think they strike a very good balance between smart and dumb. So they're not too smart, they're not too dumb. I think it's just where it should be. So it really gives you a chance to toy around with the enemy. So it is really, well, just a lot like the previous Assassin's Creed games, where this is where you want it, I think. You don't want it to be too realistic and too unforgiving, because then it's just going to take away a lot of the fun factor of the game. So there is a wide variety of options in how to distract your enemies. So you can whistle to lure them to your position, or you can also throw bells and smoke bombs. You also have shurikens and kunais. And you can also throw shurikens and kunais at objects to destroy them, which creates a sound, and the enemy is actually going to hear that sound, and they are going to come and investigate it. So there's a lot of cool little details that they put in the game. And when you are in combat and facing multiple enemies, they can actually be pretty damn relentless, where they will attack simultaneously. They're not just going to stand by and wait and watch and take turns. So that is something that I think is fantastic. It adds more realism and more challenge to it. They also added one little change to Assassin's Creed Shadows. They actually removed something that was always there in the previous games, and that is the eagle. And I am really happy that they actually just removed the eagle when you are using eagle vision. So you don't have to fly around with an eagle anymore. And I think this is just so much better, because I found that it could get a bit boring and just, I don't know, I got tired of it, honestly. So let's talk story, and I'm gonna try to keep this as spoiler free as I possibly can. So this is, well, an Assassin's Creed game, so you assassinate people, and a lot of people, but there is a underlying story which is really interesting, and just the way it unfolds. So it starts off with Naue, and she is living in the region of Iga, and they are being attacked. So there is a shadowy organization that is taking over Japan, and there are many different organizations, and I can tell you right now though that Templars are present in the game, because I mean it's an Assassin's Creed game. You can't have assassins without Templars, and you can't have Templars without assassins. They complete each other. So the people of Iga are being attacked, and a box is stolen, and Nawa is being wronged. So she is on a revenge story. With Yasuke, it's also kind of a revenge story as well, but he is a slave who came to Japan, and he was taken by the Portuguese, and he came on a ship with the Portuguese as a slave, and he gets to meet Lord Nobunaga, and he actually wants to recruit Diogo, which is his name, before he becomes Yasuke. And this story is really interesting, I think, but it's not historically accurate, obviously, and the game is very clear about this. early on, since we obviously don't know much about Yasuke in real life. There isn't enough historical accuracy to tell whether he was a samurai or not. Besides the point, though, it doesn't matter. This is an Assassin's Creed game, and it's a work of fiction. And every single Assassin's Creed game is very clear on this in the beginning of every single game. I think all this hate about Yasuke in this game is actually ridiculous, and it's invalid because, like I said, the game is very clear about this, that it is a work of fiction. They are not trying to twist the historical facts or anything like that. This is a work of fiction, and I don't understand why people are taking this offensive. So first, they found it offensive the fact that you are playing as Yasuke, a black samurai. People just wanted to play as a Japanese samurai, and I am going to be honest with you, I'm also guilty of this. I also wanted to play as a Japanese local in this game first, because you have been playing as a local in pretty much every single Assassin's Creed game. So it felt weird that they just changed it all of a sudden like this. But we still get to play as Naoya, and she is as Japanese as it gets. But I think it's actually good that we are playing as a foreigner coming to this foreign land, because I think most of people playing Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed Shadows, I think most people are probably Westerners, and it's kind of cool, coming to Japan and experiencing it as a foreigner. It's you can relate in a way, which is really cool because you're not part of this culture. You're coming there as a foreigner and trying to adapt to the culture and learning the language, so on and forth. It very often reminded me of the movie The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise, and I absolutely love that movie. There are also a lot of different romances in this game, and this is also where this game gets a lot of hate. First, it was because he was a black samurai. Now he's a black gay samurai, and it is completely up to the player. Yes, you can be gay if that is what you want. You do not have to be gay in this game if that's not what you want to be. So once again, this hate is also completely invalid. What the heck is wrong with options? They are not forcing anything onto the player whatsoever. And now I can also be gay as well. So there are so many different options, and I really don't see what the problem is with this. So you really get to shape both characters just the way you want to. And with Yasuke, it's like you get to create your own legend. It's since we don't know much about Yasuke, it's like the player can actually create their own Yasuke in whatever way they want. Let's talk about the animus. So, is there any animus stuff in this game? A little bit, yes, but we're mostly playing just in feudal Japan, so we don't really hop in and out of the animus like with some previous games. There's a little bit of story being told as you just walk around, but I really don't have a problem with this because I was never really fond of hopping in and out of the animus in some previous games. I think they did a really good job with it, like in the very, very early Assassin's Creed games, but I don't really miss it anyway. I think just staying in feudal Japan all the time is actually just a good thing. So let's move over to my list of quick pros and cons. So let's start with the pro list. So the horse can swim fast. Assassinations, they're pretty cool because with enemy positions, like if they are crouching or lying down, when you walk up to them and do an assassination, they just don't change they don't stand up very suddenly or anything like that. They just stay in position, and that's where they get assassinated. There is one exception, and that is where you do double assassinations. Then they do actually change their positioning. Body dismemberment, big plus. I absolutely love this, and I have been missing this in previous games, so I am really happy that they finally added this. There's a in and out of map sprint. So that means if you are sprinting and then you want to open up the map a bit quick to see where you're going, and then you want to just bring the map down again and you want to just continue to sprint, you can do that. Like in some games, it doesn't work. Sometimes when you're sprinting and you're pulling the map up and then you're pulling it down, then the character just goes to a halt, and that's really cool in this game. So as long as you keep pushing the analog stick forward when you are pushing the map down, then your character is gonna keep sprinting. Enemies can hear objects breaking. When facing multiple enemies, they attack simultaneously. Jump to reach with the grapple hook. Sometimes you can't reach with the grapple hook from the ground, so like sometimes wall running up and then pushing L1 is actually gonna work, and that is really cool. DualSense features. The DualSense features are really good in this game. Like when using the bow or just anything really, you can feel some weight in the triggers, and it's awesome. No animals to kill, so no legendary animals to be found in the wild that needs killing, and I am all for this. I am really happy that they removed this, because I found that part to be so boring in the previous games, where you had to kill certain animals and legendary animals, where you had to like hack and slash them 100 times, and it just becomes ridiculous and very unrealistic. Scouting and detective work. So there's a lot of emphasis on exploration in this game and to find your path. And you don't just get waypoints to exactly where you have to go. You gotta like read some clues to where you need to look and search for the next objective. And I personally really love this. And detective work. So in some missions you have to find the guilty person, and there can be quite a few different options, and you got to look through some clues and try to well, figure it out, and it's really cool. No eagle flying, big plus for me. Seasons change in real time. You can even see snow melting when the season is changing. You can't assassinate everybody, and also depending on from like where you are standing. So if you're facing an enemy and they are ready for you, it's not gonna work. They're gonna stop you. So it's really realistic. And also if there's a really big enemy and if you're kind of weak at the time, it's also gonna hinder you from assassinating that enemy. But this option can also be turned off, so you can actually get instant assassinations. So there is also a skill for now to be unlocked that also activates instant assassinations. Sumo wrestlers and cultural things to be found around the world. Slipping on ice and ice breaking. The enemies are actually treating Yasuke and Naoe differently. They show a lot more respect towards Yasuke because he is a respected samurai. This is actually really funny. So you can kill an enemy with the alarm bell. There's a Skyrim Easter egg in this game. If you shoot an enemy in the knee, you get a trophy for it. It's called the Adventurer. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This game is packed with Easter eggs. Yasuke will not stealth kill enemies from behind, since that goes against the samurai code. And let's go over some cons. This list is actually a lot shorter. So the first one is Yasuke swims as fast as Naoe. And I think this is a bit weird, since he is a lot bigger. He is wearing super heavy armor, and I don't know, I'm just a sucker for these little details, and I think he should swim slower than Naoe. The music is a minus for me, since sometimes there is a modern beat to the music and a bit of hip-hoppy touch to it, and me personally, I just dislike this, as I like music to be authentic to the time period. Some finishers and animations are a bit too slow and lengthy. There is no way to jump attack. I really miss this from the previous games. This is probably like my biggest issue with this game, and like the feature that I do miss the most from previous games. So you can't just like jump off the horse and come down, hitting an enemy on your way down, or like jumping off a rooftop and then just smashing them with a weapon, except with now, of course, where you can assassinate people. But yeah, there is no like slamming attack of any kind, and I think this is a big shame. Walking through tight spaces, as now it takes way too long. Selling single items. I mean, if you have multiple quantities of a certain item. You can, of course, control that, how many of a certain item you want to sell, but you can't like mark a bunch of different items and sell multiple at a time. They did patch this and made it possible to sell multiple items, but for some people the game tended to crash, so they removed it with the next patch. But hopefully it will be back soon again. Some collectibles are exclusive to one character, and objects need to be moved. So if you're playing with now and there's a collectible only for Yasuke in a castle, you have to change character and then go back to that castle and move that object that is blocking the path to a collectible, and that can be pretty frustrating. We are nearly at the finish line, so let's talk final verdict. I have played every single mainline Assassin's Creed game, and honestly, I think this is the best that Assassin's Creed has ever been. The world is absolutely astonishing, and it's teeming with life and beauty, and it's so rich with detail, and you can really tell that the developers have a deep passion for Japan and its culture. There are so many options, and it offers so much freedom. It is extremely polished, and I am so happy that they delayed this game. This goes to show that Ubisoft have finally learned from their past mistakes. Don't release a buggy mess. They listened to the feedback and improved a lot. This is the best thing they could have ever done to the game, and they are still working on the game. They have released a roadmap, so we are getting a lot of free DLC coming up. And not only that, they have added some new gameplay features that I absolutely love and that really fit in the Assassin's Creed franchise. I was very hesitant to whether I was going to like the two main protagonists of this game at first, but I really started to grow very fond of both of them along the road. They both have very interesting backgrounds and character development. It's really interesting to see just the way their paths cross and how their relationship is evolving and how their stories come together. I really don't understand why people are yelling woke at this game, but then again, like, people are yelling woke at just about anything these days. This game is also full of other interesting characters as well. The sound in this game is just absolutely magical. Pretty much everything is just top-notch perfect, except for that one thing with the music sometimes in certain battles with the hip-hop beat. But apart from that, like, the sound is just so freaking amazing. Though the game isn't perfect, but then again, what game is? So there are a couple of things that do stand out and bother me a little bit, and things that really could have bumped up my rating even more if they weren't missing from the game. So the two things that are actually bothering me the most is that there is no jump attack, and also the music. Like, those are the two things that really I wish they nailed those things down, because then it really just would have been a damn near perfect game. I could honestly make this video review an hour long because there is just so much to say about this game. It's just full of details. There is one thing I do want to give a little extra attention to, and that is the relationships that you can have with certain characters. And I went into a relationship with a woman named Rin as Yasuke, and this was really such a beautiful quest line. It really just hit me in the feels so many times, and it's so cool to see these two characters bond and connect, where they are both from completely different cultures and nationalities, and I found this to be just so beautiful. And they had like so many interesting conversations, and I could just really connect to them. I'm gonna ruin the moment and talk about microtransactions. So there are plenty of those in Assassin's Creed Shadows, well, as with a lot of the previous Assassin's Creed games, and it's a damn shame, but it's all optional and you really don't need any of these things. And you can buy a lot of different things with real money, and it's just an awful thing to put in a single player game. But let's go ahead and put a score on the game, and I am giving Assassin's Creed Shadows an 8.5 out of 10. This is personally my favorite Assassin's Creed game to date, and I have had so much fun with it, and I honestly can't wait to just work my way to 100% completion. If you enjoyed my review of Assassin's Creed Shadows, please give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. And also please comment and let me know what you think of my very first review and share it. That's gonna do it. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy gaming.
この先ずっと命尽きるまで